Hello everybody. Sorry for the little minute or so that I'm late. I've been a busy man today and I need to shave. So this is okay. Looks good here. And we can kind of start. Okay. Hello everybody. Welcome aboard. This is the Live Tech Show. We are at episode number 103 for the January the 16th. Let's just try to put this a little better here. Very last minute, so I thought I'd arrive home a little earlier. I've been at a little meeting with some people, important people, and so I thought I'd be here like at noon. I got home like 20 minutes ago, so I'm still a little hyped out and all beautiful with my nice shirt. So hey everybody, welcome aboard. This is the Live Tech Show number 103. And this is January 16, 2018. We are here to talk about tech, answer questions, and just have a lot of fun. Hope everybody will enjoy today's show. And yes, I'm still a little hyped, so nice to have you all on board in this last-minute show. So, hey everybody, Miss Lady Catherine, nice to have you here. Tim Robinson. Zach Hantel, nice to have you on board. Cycler39, Bobby Burgess, Christine Bowman. Yes, I do need a shave. I absolutely know that. Sean Robinson. I actually wanted to shave this morning, but I was late at everything that I did today. Completely forgot. When I saw myself in the mirror downtown Montreal, I was like, God, I look like hell. So I tried to do the best to kind of put it together, but I do look more like I don't know, a wolf than a man. So if I haven't said hello to everyone, please say hello back. Did I miss anybody? Just looking here. So Sean Robinson, Douglas Elliott, hello there, nice to have you here. David Walker, you know, nice familiar names. And it's nice to be here, of course. In our show today, we'll talk about tech. We have a few questions. And I'll try to relax a little bit now because I'm still all hyped up. So, Alex Duddle, nice to have you here. And I've got flavored water. No alcohol. Wolfman Jill, that's cool. I always wanted to look like a wolf for some reason. I don't know why. I got a friend of mine that does look like a wolf, and it's just incredible. It's like every time I see him, it's like, wow, you really look like a wolf. It's just crazy. I think I'll so cool. It's going to be nice to have everybody here. Grateful Pearls, hello there. Love you all. Love you. Really a lot, and if I still look like I'm a little hyped up, I am, because I've been running around town all day today, and been all beautiful for everybody that I meet except for my shave. So today, let's take this. So this is section number 103. We are, of course, asking for donations. If you like what I do, if you enjoy what I am actually doing, why not think about a little something? You can donate at the PayPal or at patreon.com/radioandcomputers. And of course, every little bit helps, whatever the amount, $1. Look, anything helps. It's just that I would not have been able to still be here if it wasn't for donations. So thanks everybody that donated, and I'm trying to reach out to the first time donator that been watching my shows for a while, can donate a little something. Just, you know, nice to have all of you here. Okay, news. We'll go through a little bit of news. Some news items that I thought were important. The first one is about the fact that there's not that many women in the IT departments and the tech industry as in general. And I mean, if I look around me, even when I looked at Microsoft, I think it's like 1 out of 10, not really much more than that, and it's amazing because in there you always wonder why women aren't more in the technology sphere. Why is it? I know it's a guy thing. There's a lot of one of the things that I see the most in IT departments is how manly and guy it is. I mean, I can imagine anyone that any girl that would join an apartment of how it's maybe a macho, a little sexist environment for a lot of people and a lot of women. So it's kind of interesting to see that even with efforts in trying to have more, because let's face it, one of the efforts that works is the fact that there are more women going to higher education than men. Here in Canada, it is totally the case. There's never been so many women going in higher education, college and university. Yet, after all those years, and after the fact that there's more women everywhere or on a lot of different, places in the workspace, one study that came out was very, very interesting, by the way. Kind of says, what? Women avoid some specific aspects of technology. Not a lot of women go into computer science for some reason. Like not a lot of women go into even science in general. And it's very, very interesting to read that. And one of the things that study seems to show is simply the fact that I think it's easy to see just by looking at the general population of how guys and girls are focused on different things very often. Guys will like gadgets and stuff, tend to love them more than women, or computers. They will, even as a tech guy, I can tell you guys that of all the I've had as a tech guy, 3 out of 4 clients that I had were women. Honestly, I had much more women than men that I would help with their computers. And what actually shows up with women is they just don't tweak around or anything. They don't play around with anything. They just want it to work. Where the men, and maybe that's why only a quarter, of course, there's 2 things for that. Only a quarter of my clients were men, because one part is there's a lot of men that just, for some reason, we always see these jokes on TV that there's a lot of men that don't want to ask for directions, and it's always the women that ask. And it honestly, it's far from a joke. It's actually pretty much the way it works. I think there's part of it that men don't call IT services, where women actually do want to call an IT service when they actually need help. And the other thing is, I think more men actually play around and click everything and tweak within the system, even if they have no idea what they're doing, than women. And that is interesting, because it, I think, just shows maybe simply the way our brains are wired. We're different, in some ways. So interesting study here, saying that, look, it's not a thing of not being accepted or anything. It's more of a thing of the women aren't interested in the same way in technology and computers as men are in general, which is kind of interesting. Now, does it have another factor, another thing that makes it like that? Is it the fact that because even though we're in 2018, when you look at the young generation, and if you look at, a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9-year-old kid being a girl or a guy, there's still that weird, a girl wants a doll and the guy wants a truck. Of course, some girls want trucks and some guys want dolls, but in general, there's that. Still today, there's that thing, and there's a lot of talk about that. Is that something that we've just programmed ourselves after a while? I don't know. It's kind of interesting, and I kind of find it, very intriguing, the fact that there's not more women than that are interested in computer science, and then science in general also. Kind of an interesting. I think there should be a really good study on this. I'm sure we could find all sorts of interesting spots of why this is happening, actually. So welcome, Ismael Massa. Nice to have you here. Brian Wilson, hello there. Nice to have you on board. And I think it's kind of interesting. And our like Bobby says, our brains aren't the same. Honestly, our brains aren't working and wired in the same way. I remember, there's always that thing, and I've seen this many times, and sometimes I wonder if there's some truth to it. I remember, I don't know how many times you ask, a woman, ask her husband. The wife will ask the husband, "Oh, can you pick that box of cereal?" And the husband goes and says, "Well, I can't find it." And then the woman comes, the wife comes and opens and says, "Well, it's here." And it's, right in front of your face, but you don't see it. And I remember reading an article that, at first looks a little sexist by the way that it was handling. But then you think about it and you see how things go, and you're like, maybe there's part of truth in there. There was one that said that because women are hardwired technically to have children in general, and the children are always near. They're better at seeing everything around them, and that men, for a long time, today's not the case, but for a long time, men were kind of the ones that would go out and get the food, and they would see at a farther distance. They see stuff far away. But they don't see what's around them immediately. So I don't know, there's a lot of theories and a lot of things, but I do think, at the basics, I think our brains, men and women's brains, are probably wired slightly differently, because they are slightly different in how and why and what they do most of the time. And it's an interesting field of study, and I'm pretty sure there's so many things that could just be found out if we look at girls and boys growing up, becoming adults in everything in life, and what they do and what they like. So it's kind of interesting. Lester Nunez, nice to have you on board. Zach Entel, what I think of DuckDuckGo, it looks good. I mean, if it does, DuckDuckGo, for those that don't know, it's that service that you can do searches which are not tracked. DuckDuckGo is a search engine that does not track you. I mean, yeah, why not? There's part of it that is interesting, and I think DuckDuckGo has, depending on where you are in the world, it may be it's a good idea. I mean, just look at Google. I just looked, yesterday I did a search for a friend. You guys are gonna find it funny. I did a search for a friend on a that doesn't have a computer. He asked me, "Can you look at details of?" He's got a new medication. And said, "Can you're bright, you understand things, and maybe you can search a little bit on that medication, what it does and everything." And I started searching, and it's a medication for heart disease. and I started reading on it, which was very fascinating on how it acts and what it does and everything, and side effects and so on. But it's like I've gone to my Facebook page this morning, and I was getting ads of, you know, oh, do you have high blood cholesterol? Maybe you should go see your doctor, or this is something you should ask your doctor about. So it's kind of interesting because you obviously see that when you do searches on regular places like Google, everything is tracked, everything is kept. DuckDuckGo promises that, not to ever track you, and to keep really anonymous side to it. So I think in some situations, maybe in some countries around the world, it's actually not a bad idea that this is like that. By the way, I want to mention something that I wanted to talk about today, and before I forget it, because I didn't add it. Of course, I've applied the Meltdown and Spectre updates on my Core i5 machine, my main machine that I use with Windows 10. And I could tell you guys that I've noticed that my computer's a little slower. I do notice it is slower to boot up, slower a little bit when I ask things. And when I do live streaming, like right now, usually my CPU usage was somewhere in the 70%, you know, 60-70% zone. Since I applied that patch, every live show that I've done, my CPU is stuck around 80 to 90%. So it has a major effect on my computer. That last update with the Spectre, and you know, I find it really sad that it does that, and it's kind of, you know, driving me a little nuts, you know, thinking that, okay, you got to fix things, and that fix is actually making your computer not as fast as it was before. And one of the major issues for that is that it's always removing the cache from the processor, which means it doesn't use a cache. That's where you see that there's a lot of things that change. TOT, today you won't even know who is a woman or man anymore. Yeah, sometimes, absolutely, sometimes that happens. It reminds me of a documentary I saw last night of David Bowie. I saw a 2-hour documentary on David Bowie, which played a lot on that, you know, androgynous type, being a man, a woman, you're not sure anymore. It was kind of interesting. And Tim is proud to say he is all woman. That's cool. Yes, that is something coming up, Bobby. I will do a video about mesh networking, because it has become more and more popular. And I actually was thinking of maybe getting myself some kind of mesh network, even though I don't necessarily need that much, but it will help anyways, because having more than one place where the wireless signal is coming out is going to help me out. When I'm in the backyard, for example, I have almost no signal and often disconnect or have very slow speeds. So anyways, I will do a video about that, absolutely, Bobby. I've been thinking about it, been reading a lot about it also in the last few months. So it's going to be there. I won't have time to do any videos today, but tomorrow, I promise you, Bobby, there will be a video up and talking about the mesh networking and how it works, and the different, you know, popular devices that are available for that. So it's coming up. It's coming up. Okay, TOT, nice to have you here. Albert Zappa, I hope didn't say hello. What else do we have? Just going to see if anybody else says hello here. So nice to have everybody on board, by the way. And nice to have you on board. Well, the problem is, you know what, Alex? It's not that they can't test it. Because they knew the speed problem with Spectre and Meltdown. They knew it was going to happen. It was impossible not to do it. It's impossible. The fix that they did makes it impossible for the computer to stay at the same speed. It really affects, because it actually clears the cache of the CPU a lot. You know, the CPU, your processor, has a cache. It's something that we always look at. You know, how much cache memory is, because it stores instructions, especially instructions it knows it will need. So it really makes things faster. And the fix that they're doing right now to prevent the prediction, the way that they can actually read, you know, what's being done in your PC, the information, is to prevent it from acquiring that knowledge of, I know what's coming next. And one way to do that is, okay, well, erase cache. But by erasing the processor's cache, you're slowing down the PC a lot. And I see an effect here, totally. I mean, my computer is now really running almost full 100% almost. You know, right now as I'm doing the live show, now 94%, guys. It's crazy. I mean, and I hear the fan's running like crazy on my PC right now. So I guess, you know, if I continue, I'll have to buy maybe the PC, a new PC, even better than, you know, even better than, even sooner than I thought. I can tell you that. So, Danielle Walsh, nice to have you on board. Jeffrey Kropp, nice to have you here. Happy New Year, Henry 47. We've sent you that cold weather, April Pearls. I just blow a little bit and to the south, and it's going your way. We're getting into it's still cold today, about -12, -13 Celsius, but it's supposed to warm up in the next few days. So what else do we have here? Okay, let me check that out. So, okay, continue with the news. I'll answer questions afterwards. Artificial intelligence is something that is going to pretty much mark 2018. I mean, I'm reading more and more articles on this, more and more articles on, the artificial intelligence is something that a lot of companies, and one of them was there was a big survey that came out, and the top 100, you know, tech companies are all investing huge amounts in artificial intelligence. It's like the future of things. The more you have the capabilities of artificial intelligence, the more you will perform in computing tasks, and especially with all the cloud stuff, being able to have machines understand and check out for you things that you know, maybe a human is doing now. That's for sure going to be the future. And one of the things that was pretty amazing is there was an article that Microsoft has a AI, artificial intelligence machine that can actually read text. And if you ask it questions, it will actually answer the questions that have to do with the text that it read. So it's pretty amazing when you think about that. And actually, apparently does it better than a human. So not only does it read the text, but it'll answer your questions more accurately and better than a human does. And you know, it's easy to beat me. I've always been bad at that. It's just funny because when I was in school, I remember we had to read these texts, and then we had, you know, an exam. We had to answer questions on what we just read. It was kind of a way to, you know, have us understand what we were reading. But I've always been bad at that because I've always had that flaw personally, that if I don't like what I'm reading, if I'm not interested in it, my brain doesn't register. So I've always struggled. That's a side that I always struggled, because, you know, oh, this is kind of boring, so my brain is just shutting down. So even though I'm reading it, it doesn't get in. And you know, I think this is kind of interesting because some people are good at it, but apparently computers we'll be even better at it. Interesting news out of the cloud services. So, to put it in perspective, because some of you maybe not know this, the biggest cloud service in the world is Amazon. So, Amazon actually makes money really much more off the AWS, the Amazon Web Services, than with selling you stuff on the web. And that's become actually their biggest business. And also, it powers their devices. Alexa, for example, the Echo devices. All of that are powered thanks to the Amazon Web Services. Microsoft has been in the cloud business for a while now, and it's actually a very successful business. It's become the #1 cash cow of Microsoft. So, you know, forget the days when Windows was the money maker at Microsoft. It doesn't work anymore like this. It's cloud. And basically, the interesting part of this is that in the last quarter of 2017, the cloud services of Amazon actually, for the first time, saw shrinking market share. And who took that market share? It's Microsoft with its Azure cloud services. And now we understand that for 2018, there should be an increase of the Azure cloud services of 80–85%, which makes us think that actually the cloud services will beat the Azure cloud services from Microsoft, will for the first time be bigger than Amazon's web services. So I think that's an amazing business, and they've seen 100% year-over-year increase. It's just amazing. These services are amazing, and that's what powers everything. That is what powers everything that we have. Assistants of all sorts, even web searches, become more intelligent and more precise due to what cloud services offer, and AI and all of that. And of course Cortana. So there's a lot of interesting stuff going on in here, that's for sure. So kind of interesting to see that Microsoft is really playing hard on that side to it. Cortana, some news about Cortana. So a couple of things. Last week I was talking about how Amazon will have its Alexa assistant in PCs. It is kind of interesting, not counting the fact that we also know that the Alexa assistant is going to be there by default, as they have many manufacturers, Dell, HP, Acer, that said, yeah, we're gonna put Alexa there. That means Amazon paying big money to have that on their computers. So of course it all did one thing, and in the Consumer Electronics Show, a lot of people said it was the year of the assistants. Google stole the show with all that it did. Amazon was pretty big with its Echoes and Alexa stuff. But where was Cortana? Nowhere to be seen, pretty much. There was one thing at CES with Cortana. It's that electronic thermostat that for $300, you've got that Cortana thing on your wall to control the temperature of your home. It kind of looks nice, but a lot of people are saying, hey, you know what? We're kind of wondering now if Cortana might not at some point disappear. Paul Thurrott had a very interesting article on the Cortana versus Alexa situation. It was an article that was actually talking about the fact that the you know, a lot of stuff that Microsoft did disappeared with time. A lot of stuff that Microsoft did was, you know, abandoned at some point. And we saw Microsoft come out last week kind of, you know, saying, hey, Cortana, we have tons of things coming up with Cortana and blah, blah, blah. And a lot of people saying, yeah, that looks like a panic mode button that they just pressed. What the hell, you know, what's happening? We are going to have another assistant slide into Windows under our nose, and we have Cortana. And why can't we succeed at Cortana? So we learned this week that there are going to be some changes with Cortana. So right now, Cortana, you guys see it on the bottom left of your taskbar as the search box and everything. It's going to move to the right side of the screen on the bottom right, where right now you click to see your quick actions and your notification stuff. I think they're panicking, trying to find out how can we have Cortana be an assistant people want to use when, let's face it, nobody uses Cortana. You know, I use it because I know it's there, and I kind of have some fun using it. But I'm a different user. I'm a different person playing around with computers than the average person with computers. So in reality, nobody's really using Cortana. So I don't know what's going to happen. And, you know, will that change, putting Cortana like on the right side of the screen, do anything really? Will that make people use it more? I don't know. I think it's going to be interesting to see. And, you know, there's going to be a battle of assistants basically, you know. And Amazon is kind of there already, pretty solid. And you know, that in thinking about another thing here is that you know, Amazon is we learned this week that, you know, one out of 6 people in the United States now have an assistant, some kind of assistant, be it the you know, Amazon one or the Google or whatever. It's a big market, and I mean, there's going to be a big winner at some point. There's going to be a big winner. So it's kind of going to be interesting. And what I particularly am scared of, and it's like Grapple Pearl has a invoke. You know, if you have devices out there and you decide that Cortana is dead, your devices are going to stop working. That's not cool. So they kind of have to have her continue working and do things. But I think they're stuck at, they don't know how to have Cortana maybe, you know, get people to use it. And I think one of the things also you got to remember is, you know, is Amazon's Alexa going to be used more on a PC? I'm not sure, because I think one of the reasons, you know, look at who uses the assistants right now. If we use an assistant, we use it, either we bought some kind of assistant, the Invoke with Cortana, the you know, Google Home things with Google Assistant, or an Echo device from Amazon. That's a big chunk of using the assistants. A little bit of it is within our phones, using it in our phones. But you know what? I think the problem on PC is simple. So unless you have a device, most people will not use the Alexa assistant more than Cortana. I don't think so. The only thing that will make it maybe work or be used more is mostly because of the fact that people will have devices they can control and interact with, basically. So, you know, and it's just crazy. It's just crazy to see what's happening here. basically. Evil Goku, nice to have you here. Anybody else I've missed? Say hello, please. If I've not said hi. Michael Nance, nice to have you here. So, kind of interesting. I don't know what's going to happen. And I think Cortana has a long road ahead of it for sure. Oh man, Google Play. Is there a month when we is there a month where we don't have any news of the Google Play Store doing bad things? Hey there, Shervin Abdullah, nice to have you here from Denmark. Patrick Manny, hello there, nice to have you here. So, yeah, it's something like that, Ripple Pearls, absolutely. I did see that it was a very simple procedure to reset the Cortana invoke. Hey, Cool Tech. Yeah, we need to, well, there will eventually be something like that. Cortana versus Alexa versus Google Assistant. Testing them out and trying to get an idea of what could be better or not. Hey, Radioactive. Nice to have you here. So, the story goes that there were 60 apps that were removed from the Google Play Store last week. They were downloaded something like 3 or 4 million times. That's a lot of people. And basically, what's bad, there's been always a lot of bad things. Some were, adware. They just display ads. Some are some kind of ransomware or try to trick you into something. But now, 60 games, mostly games, that started displaying porn ads. Now, if you're an adult, it's already bad enough, but what's the worst here is that at the basics, there were some games for kids in there, for games of, for kids of 5, 6, 7, 8 years old that were displaying porn. This is kind of scary. And it just goes back down to one thing. How come is there so much problem in the Google Play Store? We don't see that really in the iOS Store. Yes, it's not perfect. There have been things in the iOS Store that have been bad. Yet, for one iOS or App Store for iPhone or iPad that they find, there's probably 100 they'll find in the Google Play Store. And of course, when you go to get an app now, you get that, oh, this is checked by Play Protect or something. It's like, yeah, well, that was also kind of checked out by Play Protect, and there was porn on your phone. So I don't know, this is crazy. This is crazy. Hey, Jean, nice to have you on board. So, it's funny, I kind of try to wonder because, one thing for sure is you want to stay in the store because you want to have that safe haven. I mean, you got to remember that Android is more like Windows. So, of course, you can tweak it more. You can do a lot more within the system. Where iOS on the Apple side is a very closed system. But there's one difference, and it's not a closed system. I think what we see is that Apple is much more tests a lot more whatever app goes into the App Store. And maybe Google needs to kind of shape up and do something better, because it's a little crazy when you think about it, that it's almost scary now. You go to the Android, you go to the Google Play Store, And what you find is that, you know, you might be downloading some app that's going to steal something, or that's going to, you know, infect your device. And it should never, never happen from something that comes from the store. So I don't know. This is crazy. Hey, Windows 10 Fall Careers Update is for everybody now. So I don't know if some of you that's in the chat room didn't have it yet, and it finally showed up in your updates. So basically what's being said here is that Microsoft opened the Windows 10 Fall Careers Update floodgates. Normally almost everybody should have that appear. So if you didn't have yet the Fall Careers Update, should be in your Windows Update. Microsoft added also a little something here, is that they kind of said, oh, it's safe for enterprise, but that's another story, because it's for the enterprise that needs to know if it's safe for them or whatever. So if you don't have it yet, you can check out your Windows Update. It should show up. It's rolling out very, very well. I was looking at statistics, and there's extremely very, very small amount of people complaining after the upgrade process. So it's kind of, you know, it's kind of a pretty safe update. But once again, it's not you know, 100%. There's of course always a little small percentage that might have problems, and these are the ones that we voice. Yeah, radioactive. You know, considering Google, I think they at least 3 times or 4 times last year said, "Oh yeah, we're gonna ramp up security in the Google Play Store, and you guys are gonna see how things are gonna be safe from now on." Well, it doesn't show yet. And yet, just one little word. If you are one of those that don't want to have the latest Fall Careers Update yet, maybe because it's a work PC, maybe it's because it's something that it's something that you you know, don't want to have right now or whatever, of course you can defer it. But to defer it, you'll have to use a little trick. So you need to go into your Windows Updates, into your Windows settings, sorry. In the settings, go to your internet connection, and you'll see a place that's called metered connection. You got to turn that on. Metered connection will prevent this type of big update from going to your PC, and we'll let through the the security updates only. Yeah, but you know, Cooltech, it's very long too. You can't push. Cooltech is asking, you know, we're only a couple of months away from the next update, and why is it so late? You know, you can't push these things really fast, because you got to go methodically. You got to make sure that it doesn't break anything. You got to make sure that, you know, you're not gonna strand hundreds of millions of people with PCs that are plagued with problems. All of that means they need to really, really look at the telemetry and test it out really good before you can actually push it. You know, I know we're just 2 months away, but there's still some people, and that's one thing that I wanted to add here. There's a small percentage of you out there that are still not seeing it, even though they've opened the floodgates. Why? Because there's still a little bit of a small amount of PCs that don't have the requirements needed. So that's one thing. But you know, it's crazy. I mean, look at if you're wondering because it's 2 months, I can tell you one thing. Look at Creators Update. One of my PCs here, which is an old Dell PC, got the creators update, okay, after the fall creators update arrived. So there's still some people that the rollout is really far from it. And actually, it caused my PC to have 2 installs in the same day. Creators update, and then an hour later, fall creators update showed up. So, you know, it's one of the reasons why I think there needs to be a way to make these updates a little better, or just give one a year or something, because it's crazy here. So, you know, the messaging app is linked to what you are doing. So, for example, if you use Skype, you would see that the Grateful Pearls, the messaging app would have your Skype contacts there. It's an app that works only for when it's linked to different ways of connecting with others. So if you haven't done anything with the messaging app, it's empty and doesn't do anything. You gotta kind of add people to it. So, and you know, I would have to test it out. I've never tried it. I saw yesterday because I was looking at the new Fluent design that it has, but mine is empty also because I don't use that. And I've not permitted my almost everything I have in Windows 10. I've not given permission to take the contacts from Skype or other contacts to just shoot in there for sure. So you know. So anyways, you know, it's kind of interesting to see that you know, we're moving on, and yes, we are only 2 months away from the next update, Redstone 4, and you've got a lot of stuff in that update, more coming. And I would guess, I don't know if it's going to make it there, but I was wondering when they talked about the fact that we have Cortana moving. So will we have Cortana move in some of the next few builds, and that will be part of the next update? I don't know. It's kind of interesting. So you know, no, I think they're Alex has a question about, you know, if they have Alexa, will they remove Cortana? The Cortana is built in Windows, so you can't remove Cortana. And I think what they will do is simply change, you know, simply change the basically the defaults, and try to have Alexa be more forward and present than Cortana. But you can't by default remove Cortana. She's still going to be there, and she's still going to work, but they'll find probably a way of, you know, shoving in your face Alexa somehow. That's mostly what's going to happen. What else in the news here? Okay, the European Union wants to build the biggest supercomputer in the world. Hey, Randy Reyes, nice to have you here. What's your view on Windows Telemetry? Yes, sending diagnostic data to Microsoft for better future Windows 10 builds, but haven't you noticed sometimes it takes a heavy toll on system resources, the task manager? You know, the system diagnostics takes a lot of information if it's set to full. So one of the things about system diagnostics is that if you have, as I have, mine is set at full, there's all sorts of things that happen there. And if you have crashes, if you have issues, and remember one thing, crashes doesn't mean you have crashes in your face. A computer can have some part of Windows crash without you ever noticing it crashed, but that will trigger a memory dump and all sorts of things like that. So when it does that, it might take a lot more resources. One way to lower the amount or the the resource taken from your PC would be to put the telemetry at the minimum required, just the bare minimum, the basic minimums, and that would be probably a little better. But I would guess, and you know what? One of the things you should, if it's something that you find that it uses too much resources and everything, don't hesitate. Go to the feedback hub and write a post there. Say, look, your telemetry stuff, it's taking way too much computer resources, and just tell them that maybe it should be tweaked to be more efficient in the way that it does things. But I think it depends on the level where you're setting your telemetry, basically. You know what, Grateful Pearls, every time you say "kiss my grits," I always have the face of I'm trying to remember what was her name, but in the TV series Alice, the waitresses at Mel's Diner. There was one of I'm trying to remember what's her name. I've been watched that in such a long time. Basically, I always have her face every time appear in my head every time you say "kiss my grits," Grateful Pearls. Cool tech. Yeah, well, the beta program is ended, so that means they're ready to push. Samsung is ready to push the update for most phones, including the Galaxy S7. Where it's going to block now is the carriers. So if Samsung pushes it, you have to wait for your carrier to say, yeah, it's okay. Yeah, it's okay. So that is the biggest problem. But if your carrier doesn't block it, you will have it in the next month or so. They're saying that it's supposed to be pushed late January. So cross our fingers. I hope I have it soon. Want to have it soon. That's cool, Grateful Pearls. You'll have to tell me in person if we ever meet. I want to have that same accent. So I know this week the beta ended, so they're ready to push it to all the Galaxy phones. So yeah, the S9 is there's a lot of rumors, and we've got to be careful between rumors and what is reality, because we've seen a few things. I did see a leak for the Galaxy S9, by the way, and basically there's some interesting stuff that seems to be there, including the camera with different aperture and everything. But we got to be careful. Rumors are rumors, and 9 out of 10 rumors that come out when they announce stuff never materialize. And you got to remember that, for example, the Galaxy S9 is still a work in progress. There are things that they might say, okay, we can't have that working right. We're not going to put it right now. Oh yeah, flow. That was flow. Yeah, Grateful Pearls, absolutely. Kiss my grits. Yeah, I remember that. I remember that show because my mom would watch it when I was like 12 or 13 years old. And, I would do other things. I remember I was on my Commodore computer, and while I was doing stuff on the Commodore computer, I was kind of, watching the show at the same time. And I actually stumbled upon one Alice TV show on YouTube. There was a full episode was there. And I actually watched it and was like, wow. Brings you back a long way back. So anyways, Samsung phone should have it soon. And basically the S9 will be announced in February, absolutely, at the Mobile World Congress. The S9 will be announced, and there's the rumors of the 10, the S10, that would be out earlier, like in December, but all rumors again. But yeah, they're going to announce it at the Mobile World Congress. So supercomputers, it's something that is important. There's kind of a little race going on right now. China has the top 2 spots for the supercomputing right now. Japan, United States are up there also. And of course, supercomputers are very important because when you have some research to do, these are so powerful that they can actually reduce the time to get your findings of whatever research you're doing. So now we learned that the European Union set $1 billion euros aside in order to basically get a supercomputer for the year 2023. So that's going to be interesting. But you know what? I find that interesting because they mentioned, oh, we're going to have the best, the fastest, and the most powerful supercomputer in the world in 2023. Yeah, but by 2023, I think the Chinese will have something else also. I mean, it's just crazy. And even in the United States, I know they are looking at building one. It's going to cost them like a couple of billions there. So there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff that is coming with these. It's just amazing to see that we're moving ahead in extremely powerful computing. Okay, a few questions. Some questions, a mix of questions from Tim Robinson that's got, and congratulations, his new Galaxy S7, which, yes, is an amazing phone. And also a few questions of Android in general. So Tim asked, for example, what apps I would install on my phone. I think one of the first things that that I do is customize it a little more into my own experience. So one of the first things that I did with my Galaxy S7 is, I'm sorry, but the Galaxy S7 or any Samsung phone is programmed with the Samsung team and the Samsung way of things. And that is, personally, I find that to be a bad experience. I don't like that. I don't like the Samsung stuff. So you might want to change that to something else. You can, of course, use the Google launcher. But my preferred launcher is the Microsoft launcher, which is amazing and just added some new functionality. So I think the first thing is either to use the Google launcher, which gives you a cleaner experience, more Android experience. The Microsoft launcher is just amazingly cool. So I like that. I've moved to, when I got my phone, I moved to the Google launcher, which I loved a lot. But when I moved to the Microsoft launcher, I'm not going back. I'm not going back. Jacqueline Red, nice to have you here. So Microsoft launcher is one that I want to do, but a Google, if you don't want to have Microsoft style stuff, Google launcher is also a good one to replace the Samsung one, which I don't like, and I wish they should not. They would not put that on their phones. Then we have where's my phone? My phone, oh, I think it's here. So I don't know. I like that. I like the customization that you get from the the Microsoft launcher, and especially when you have like I have the Cortana stuff, and here I've got good afternoon and everything. The way that things are set up with the Microsoft launcher is much more beautiful and efficient, and in the way that it works. I need to do a video on that and really talk about each little point of things. Kind of difficult to do it right now, and I'm afraid that somebody's going to call and everybody's going to see the phone number, so I don't want to do it too much live stuff. but I will do a video for sure. So there's that. One of the things, the phone case I've got is a, it's called the Bullet. It's a metal, it's a brushed metal outer casing with a lot of rubber. So I've dropped my phone about 20 times on very hard surfaces, and it's still intact and beautiful. And I bought this on eBay, I believe, for like $25. And it's really a brushed metal casing with rubberized inside and everywhere. So it's like this thing falls on the ground, this is going to break in a million pieces if you eventually. I've already broken the bottom here, but your phone will still be intact. So that's gonna. I like this casing a lot. I've really found it really perfect, and it's a beautiful case, and it keeps your phone beautiful also. It's a beautiful looking case. Yes, I do need to do that, Bobby, the Aircast video, and I will absolutely do one. I'll try to get a little. I'll have a little more time in the coming weeks to do videos, so there's a lot more stuff that's going to come out. So all of that is in basically the whatever I need to do videos about. And I'm also, for those that are on the radio side, I'm waiting for 2 radios that I will be reviewing. 2 Grundig, well, 1 Grundig, 1 Ethan radio, the executive. Basically it's going to be interesting. There's going to be a lot of stuff happening in the channels. Yeah, I don't use protectors on my screen. I don't like having a protector over my screen because, with time sometimes it bubbles up a little bit, or it changes and it alters slightly the beautiful screen that it is here. I'd rather have a case like this that rises just above the screen, so when you drop it, even if it falls on the screen side, the screen will never touch the floor because it's slightly raised on the edges. So just having that is already protecting your screen, and it does work because I told you I've dropped this thing at least 20 times, a couple of times really hard on the sidewalk outside, and never broke. Nothing's broken on the phone itself, but the case is like, pieces of my case are chipping off now by all the hard, very harsh environment that I have. So a launcher, make a launcher that you choose a launcher that's going to be interesting. What else in apps? Well, I totally on Android, I totally think one of the really cool thing about Android, well, one of the things you need, I use an antivirus, but I don't like proactive antivirus. So I don't, there's already, if you don't go outside, of the Play Store, okay, the dangers of getting a virus on your Android phone are quite small, honestly. And if you're careful, it's, that shouldn't be too much of a problem. So what I do is I installed Malwarebytes anti-malware, and that Malwarebytes anti-malware is set to scan my phone once a week. So like on Sundays, at some point I have a pop-up and says, "Oh, I want to scan your phone. Can you? Do you want to let me scan your phone?" So I have it, and I just use it just in case there would be something. And you know what? It's been nice to have it because, come on, cat wants to come over. I know you guys want to see him. Come on. Hello. Look at that. He doesn't want to come. So basically, come on. So basically, an antivirus just to scan the phone, but not a proactive. That I tried like AVG. once on my phone. I don't like that because it is proactive, so it actually does. So here's Mr. Paul the cat for you guys. It actually does slow down your phone because it's an antivirus. It actually checks everything you do, everything you touch, all the websites that you go to. I don't like that. So I rather have something like Malwarebytes, where basically it will be more of a you know, I'll scan it when I want to scan it and not do it not in the you know, not have something that's always there running. Browser also. I personally think that especially on the Galaxy S7, the default browser, that Samsung browser thing, internet thing, I don't like it. It's not that it's bad, but it's not what I want. So almost any phones, I prefer having Google Chrome or maybe something like you guys see him? I just want to see if you guys could see him. I can't see him. Look at how he's actually all cuddled up now. So anyways, he's a browser of some sort. Google Chrome. I like Google Chrome for the fact that it actually synchronizes with everything you've got on your if you use Chrome on your PC, for example. Microsoft Edge is a nice browser. I've been actually using it almost exclusively now. It's even a default on my screen now. On the bottom in the default icons, I've got Microsoft Edge now. I use that. It synchronizes the passwords and the websites you visit from your PCs. It's also a nice browser to get. So basically, that's the kind of the browsing experience. Try to get your own a new browsing experience. Yeah, I do have. I'm a little, I'm just slightly allergic to Paul the cat. So, but I live with it, because I don't want Paul to go away, so I live with it, And so a browser is what I will have. Jean is running Firefox add-on. So yeah, so he's got an add-on to let you view the desktop sites. So that's also something. Because it is true that sometimes you want to have, sometimes you want to have the desktop website appear, not the mobile website. Performance. Somebody asked me performance apps, and yeah, that's what I have. Great Ball Pearls. I've got a box of Benadryl here, and when it gets a little too much, I take a couple of Benadryl, and I'm okay. I'm okay. So that's what I have. It's just that Benadryl makes you sleepy. It makes me sleepy personally. So that's why I try not to take too much. And I need to also, I haven't brushed him in 2 days. I need to brush him more because I see all the little cat hairs moving everywhere right now while I'm touching him. So I need to brush him. So what else do we have? Well, he's Paul the cat is a little cat that's always hungry, but he isn't bigger than a year ago. I actually weigh him every month, and he's at 17 pounds, and he's been at 17 pounds for the past year. So he's big, but not as big as some cats that I've seen, and he's not getting bigger. So at least that's good. What I think about the Samsung A8, A8 Plus phones, they're okay. I mean, they're not as powerful and not as they're not the flashy ones. They're for people that are more like into cheaper phones, but still, they're okay. I mean, they're okay. I think it was the A8 that a friend of mine has that I found. I played with it a little bit, and I thought, yeah, it was pretty nice. I actually was surprised. So Oh yeah, Grapple Pearls, I did see the picture. Very, very nice. And yeah, absolutely, very, very beautiful dog, can tell you that. Would I ever get a Galaxy Note? Reese Odom, nice to have you here. I've often thought about it. I like the fact that it's bigger screen. And if I buy a new phone, because my contract is expiring in 2 months, that means I'll be able to get a phone for a subsidized phone for a lower price. The Note phone is actually something I am strongly thinking of. Absolutely. Okay, what else do we have in questions after looking at all the runs and I still can't find what? Okay, this is a question that comes from Atawahinta, that sometimes is in the chat room. So I'm going to try to do a video talking about this because it's a very, very tough way sometimes to find things. So she has a problem with her computer that has and is, when she shuts down, says that there's something that's still running. She got to, you know, click the close anyway button. If she doesn't do that, the PC never shuts down. And she's done a lot of little things that I actually done quite a few little things that I told her that, you know, to try for, including remove all the, you know, the stuff that runs with the PC when it starts up and everything. And she actually even went to stop almost everything, and it would still do that, which kind of tells me that it's probably some kind of Windows process that is stuck. Maybe because of one of the device drivers that the system has. And when that happens, it's really, really difficult. And one thing I forgot to mention, but that you should strongly go and check out, it could be a very specific problem with your model of PC. And you should search on Google for your specific model number and PC brand with, you know, shutdown issues or shutdown problems. Even go to the website of the manufacturer of your computer. It might be something that the manufacturer knows and says, oh yeah, if you're plagued with that, here's something you can do. So this is kind of you're in a tough spot when everything you try and everything you do and disable still gives you that. You're in that zone where it's getting a lot more difficult, So I'll be checking out. So do as I say. Go to your manufacturer website and find your model number and check out any forums or any information about your PC that they have there. You might find that a lot of people, and you know, very often when we have a PC that does that, you've got tons of people that already say, hey, you know what, you know, it's a non-issue for that specific model or a series of models for that brand. And I'll have to do a couple of videos also on that coming soon. So and everybody's asking in the chat room, hope you're okay, because you haven't been there for a while, and yeah, she seems to be quite all right. She's been sending little questions and things here and there, so should be okay. So Randy Ray's features or commands that noticed Google Assistant has on Android platform that Cortana still lacks on Windows 10. You know what? I haven't compared both enough to answer that question, but I think it could be a good idea to do so. Maybe you're kind of, you know, giving me ideas of, okay, maybe a series of assistant videos and asking specific questions to each assistant. I know that the Google Assistant is pretty good, but I haven't compared or tried things with each of them. So in order to answer that question, I'll need to do that. So I'll come back to you. I'll probably come back with a series of videos on, you know, Google Assistant versus Cortana versus Alexa and so on. Not versus Siri. Siri is rather bad, and I don't like Siri anyways. But these are a few things like that. Okay, old Palm TX device, and that is a tough question because we have Francis that sent me an email saying, hey, I got an old Palm TX and I've got a lot of contacts in there and a lot of events in the calendar. Now, you might be surprised, I still am using my Palm TX, but I'm thinking of moving to something else as it's getting very little battery life now. So, the question that comes to mind is, how can you transfer your calendar for some usable form? You know what? I got a Palm TX here. And I have to say that I tried to find it, and the problem is it's starting to get very, very difficult to do so. But there's an app that existed at some point, and I can't find it. But there is an app that existed that you would install on the Palm TX, and try to search Google for it. Say, you know, Palm TX calendar, or you know, appointments to how to send to, you know, Google Calendar or stuff like that. So what happened is, at some point I had found an app, and by the way, even if you don't have, as long as you have the software and a PC that can actually can synchronize the app within your Palm TX, and by the way, you can send it via Bluetooth if you ever have a Bluetooth computer. You can actually turn on Bluetooth file sending. That's a trick that a lot of people don't know, and you can actually download the app, send it through Bluetooth through your Palm TX, and once it's in there, it's going to recognize that it's an app. I did that a few times, so I know what I'm talking about. Basically, that app that I've used, because you know what, I was a big Palm fan. I still have 2 Palm TX here that are still in perfect working order. I used to be a big fan of the Palm TX because of the Palm series. It was an incredible assistant, and when I started fixing computers, it was just so cool to have all my appointments in there. And of course, when I got my first smartphone, which was an iPhone, the first thing that came to mind is, oh, how can I send to my iPhone all the contacts and all the appointments that I have in there? And so there's an app that what it does, it actually will ask you what's your Google email and password, and what it does, it transfers to the through the Wi-Fi, because the Palm TX is Wi-Fi enabled. It transfers all of the appointments you have ever had within Google Calendar, and it works really well because I've used it, and I was so happy to see that all my appointments were there, all the information is there. But you just got to find it. I can't find. I tried quickly to find. You sent me the question this morning, so quickly tried to find it, but I didn't find it. Just Google how to synchronize Palm TX calendar contacts with Google Calendar, and I'm sure you're going to find the app, because you have to use the app. There's really not any other way to do it. But if you use the app, it's going to work. And we've got somebody that's called, what's the name? Anthony. So Anthony he says he's good with computers and everything, and he was wondering, and he's got his certifications and everything. says, I want to start a tech business, and by watching many of your videos, I understand that you have or had a tech business, a successful tech business, and wondered how I actually got all the clients and how do you make it successful. Well, there's several things. If you start a local tech business, there's several things that are going to make it successful. So first, be the good tech guy. I mean, you're there to help people. So be nice, be there, be helpful. Remember one rule, the first biggest rule of all. You're not there to change any of their habits. Okay? If you go there and you're the tech guy that's going to change everybody's habit, don't do this, use that, you're going to lose clients. People don't want that. People want you to help them with how to use their PC. That I learned the hard way in the first year. In the first year, I was the tech guy. Oh, no, you shouldn't use Real Player. That's crap. You should use that. And then they would call you all the time because they just didn't understand how to do it in the new one. So I quickly understood, okay, I'm not there to change your habit. You're using Real Player, well, I'm going to help you with that. Unless there's a real problem that you need to change. Getting your clients is the hardest thing. Building the business, getting your clients is the hardest thing. And so basically, you will use different ways. You were asking, did I use the internet for promotion? I did slightly, but never in a good way. And the reason why is very simple. When you are a local business, the internet is not of help to promote yourself. The business that you have is going to be really in your town or environment. And you'll be surprised, but the best and most effective way of getting clients is to go to check your local grocery stores, check any stores, any commercial streets, all the stores, the restaurants, the coffee shops. There's a lot of them that have a billboard, and you can put ads on the billboard. And of course, always be polite. Even if they don't have a billboard, you know what? Go in the coffee shop, take a coffee, take something, buy something. It's very important. If you do something like that, that's what I always do. I'm here to beg you to accept that I'll put my ad on your wall. The least I can do is buy something in your coffee shop. And you know what? You can ask politely, hey, can I put an ad, on the wall next to the door? And you'll be surprised that if you ask it well and you buy stuff, how people are, oh yeah, absolutely. You can put something there. That's the number one way you'll get clients, because you know what? There's a lot of people that go to the grocery stores, to the coffee shops, and they are going to see that ad and they're going to say, oh, and do something nice, do something visible. Everybody has that drab white page with little numbers you take out. That's the worst ad you can have. Get something. Unfortunately I don't have a copy anymore of one of my ads, because I would show you guys what it looked like. I'd have to print one to show you. So mine was a full sheet, and make it in a way that there's not too much information, but it's very straightforward. You fix computers, or you help people with computers. And I had my little business cards that I put at the bottom, that I would actually staple to the bottom of the ad, so people would actually take a real business card. So that's one thing. You're going to start having clients. The second way that you're going to get a lot of clients is that if you're good and people like you, they naturally talk about you to everybody they know. So, I would get the things like, oh yes, I'm calling because you went to my sister's yesterday and she said you were fantastic. So when can we meet, because I have problems? And that's the second way you're going to get a lot of clients. And frankly, I would say that in the first 2 years, by being a good tech guy that people love. And I'm absolutely convinced that if you're a good tech guy, just these two first things that I told you, you're gonna, in the first year, 2 years, you're gonna get a lot of clients. Be a good tech guy. Don't do bad things. Don't overcharge. Don't. I was never the tech guy to sell stuff. Never. Sometimes people would say, "Oh, my friend told me I got Windows 7. Did I have to move to Windows 10 or Sky?" You happy with Windows 7? I was that guy that was like this. Was you happy with Windows 7? You do what you want with Windows 7? Well, I stay with Windows 7. I'm not gonna push you to Windows 10. I only pushed to an operating system when that person operating system, for example, last year there was one of my old clients, one of the first clients I had. She said, "Oh, I can't do this or that," and basically I looked at it and said, "Well, you got Windows Vista and it's not supported anymore. You need to move. You need to move to something, you know." And I said, "Well, okay, what should I move to?" And I said, "Well, just move to Windows 7. We're gonna get yourself a Windows 7, and things like that." And what else do we have? Well, I'd say that remember that okay, as much as you think you know about computers, the real world experience of going to people's computers will show you that you absolutely know nothing about computers. Now today, I understand that I was a complete ignorant fool on computers when I started the first year. Because you will find that there are some huge amount of problems and a very vast amount of problems. And you're like, what the hell? And your experience will build up. And your experience is an amazing thing. I remember once somebody told me, "Hey, quick question. If you were to get somebody to help you in your tech duties, would you choose the guy that comes out of school, the guy that's been tweaking with his PCs at home for 20 years? And I remember telling him, "I want the guy that tweaked his PC for 20 years. He has much more experience than that guy from school that knows nothing except a very specific thing that they actually talked about in school." The experiences, and that also helped me a lot, because at some point you get, to this point where you go to the client and it's like, "Oh, you get an error when you actually start Excel." Okay. "Oh, that error, yeah. Oh, do you have do you have Adobe Photoshop?" "Yeah." "Oh, okay, because Adobe Photoshop installs an add-on in Microsoft Office. It makes crash Excel." It gives you an idea. These are the things you're not ever going to think about when you start going. It's like, Excel's broken? What the hell's happening? And you learn about these things, and your best friend for any tech job will always be Google. Learn to use Google in the best way possible. You have no idea how using Google is something that's going to really, really be helpful in your job. And then a few questions that come from Zachary. Zachary says, "Do I need Adobe Reader in Windows 10? Nope. Windows 10 has Microsoft Edge that's already a reader. By default, I believe Google Chrome also reads PDFs. You don't need that. And I don't want people installing these crappy things. Windows 7 really slow after last cumulative update. Yeah, that's because of the Spectre meltdown / update. It slowed down my PC. So unfortunately, it's something that hopefully it'll tweak and maybe make better with time. But I'm sorry, but it just doesn't happen. And how can I send my Android phone to a smart TV wirelessly? A few things. If you've got a Samsung phone, there's a Samsung phone does work wirelessly directly with your Samsung TV. If you've got a smart TV, if it has Miracast capability, if it has all the streaming capabilities from devices, you might actually be able to send the picture directly. And if all doesn't work, you can get yourself a Chromecast, or I've got a thing called the Anycast that will enable through your wireless router sending your picture. And actually I forgot to plug it in because I wanted to show you the Anycast and just quickly show you that I can send the picture to the screen easily using the Anycast, and it works really, really well. Slight lag, but it does work. So and finally, you know, there's a lot of things and like I said a little early, like Bobby says, Chromecast does that also. And if you've got a smart TV, remember one thing. For example, if you got a smart TV and the only thing I want to do is play YouTube videos, what you can do is, let's say here I want to okay, let's check it out here. So here it goes, a miniature train model. So if I want to view the miniature train stuff when I'm connected to my home network, I actually have, and I'm just gonna get out for a second here. Here we go. I actually have a little broadcast thing here on the top. So let's I clicked on the advertisement. Here we go. I can actually just click on the video, and I've got a icon that says, hey, Toshiba TV. If I send it to the Toshiba TV, it connects, and it will eventually, it starts up the YouTube app here. So there are several things depending on what you have, and this will work also on a Chromecast, on many, many little, here we go, you know, on many, many little things that you can use basically. And so here we go, Taylor Swift. It's supposed to be working in a second, so I don't know why it's not starting, but anyways, these are all little things that you can do if you've got a smart TV basically, and that will be working well. So that's pretty much what I have to say. Hope you guys enjoyed today's show. In 30 minutes, less than 30 minutes, we'll be on the Windows Insider Show, so hope you guys can join me there. We are coming to the Windows Insider Show in 27 minutes. Taking a little pause, and of course it's on the other channel. Hope you guys enjoyed today's show. Sorry to go a little fast, but a little compressed by time. And thanks everybody for being such great fans. We will be back next Tuesday. Also this Friday, of course, a radio show for those that are on the radio side, 2000 UTC. And so on the Windows Insider Hour that we'll have a little later, we'll of course talk about the latest build, 17074. So that's coming up in 27 minutes. Thank you everybody for being here, for being great fans. Hope you enjoyed the show. And we are here every Tuesdays at 2000 hours Universal Time, 3 p.m. Eastern, with Tech Show, with the news and answering your questions. Take care everyone, and for those that will follow, see you in 26 minutes in the Windows Insider Show. Bye-bye.